Oh.
I want to explain this to the chain and the shirt. It'll relate to my chart in Gemini. I'll
Oh,
ex-
okay.
yeah, I'll explain what's going on.
All right. Well, we are live. What is up? What's up, everybody? Hold on. Let me open the chat. We got to open the chat. We got to see what chatter is going to be popping off during a Gemini chat. Hold on. Okay. All right. So, what's up, everybody? This is your cosmic homegirl, and I am here to chat about hashtag Gemini life, which means what is it like to be a Gemini? I mean, we can do all these videos and all this information out there as astrologers on the generalization of the signs and everything, but to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, on what the feeling is like to be under a certain energy by birth is like the most accurate info that you can get. You know what I mean? So I am not alone today in my chitter chatter under this Gemini new moon. I'm here with a special guest, a fellow astrologer, Mr. Darren Star. Darren, hold up, Darren Star. So that means that you produced 90210 back in the day, huh?
No.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorite shows. Are you sure? Because I swear that was the name.
No, I don't know. Was it?
Yes, Darren Star. I
I
thought
never knew
that's where
that.
you got that from.
Really? I made that up. I never knew that.
Trying to hide your secret other career. Whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so Darren is an astrologer. He's been doing astrology a long time. He has been interested in it, studying it for a long time, but just now has started it as a career. So, Darren, why don't you introduce yourself and why you're here to talk about that hashtag Gemini life?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Darren Star, and I'm a fellow reader under astrological.com. And I came here to talk with April about the zodiac sign Gemini because my moon sign is Gemini. And aside from your sun sign and your ascendant sign, moon has a heavy influence on your personality. The moon represents the mind and the way that you think. And in my case, I have a Mercury conjunction. They're at the exact degree, and Mercury is ruled by Gemini. So I feel like I could, speak about that sign. I know it. I know what it feels like. I know that sign very well.
Yeah. You have a Gemini moon, a Gemini Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. You got like just your mind is like uber Gemini, but you
Yeah.
seem pretty calm. I mean, Geminis to me act like Tasmanian devils, and their eyes are just shifting all. So I would be thinking like that's how you would be, like shifty
Yeah.
eyes. But you're
I,
like super calm. So what else is in your chart that helps to calm that down a little bit?
well, aside from Mercury is the way that you communicate and the way that you talk, but people always forget about the third house and the third house ruler, and it's heavily aspected by Saturn. So it slows it down. But there have been, I'm really aware of myself too. So I really try to keep it under control because when I was younger, I had a hard time staying focused in school because like you said, the shifty eyes, I'm like this a lot. I'm nosy, and I play it really really cool too because my sun sign is Taurus, and I have a Jupiter conjunction, and Jupiter and Sun conjunction, it exudes the energy of the sun. So people always be like, "Oh, you're so calm. I can feel that Taurus energy." Even people who are not into astrology and know it, like me and you, April, they just know sun sign. So people always tell me, "Oh, you act just like a Taurus," because they feel it more so because of the Jupiter conjunction. But
Ah.
then when you get to know me, like, when you get close to me, I'm constantly joking with you. I will mimic you. I will, play with you and do little tricks on you. I'm a jokester, so
Heck yeah, man. Oh my gosh. That's like one of my favorite qualities about Geminis is that jokester, trickster aspects, you know, those oh my gosh, I love it. You guys are like the most entertaining people. Well, aside from Leo, you know. Have an honorable.
Well, I am a Leo rising, you know.
Oh, so okay, so you must be the king of entertainment in your circle.
Yes. Yeah.
And also your Gemini placements are in the 11th house. So for our fellow nerds, the 11th house energy is similar to Aquarius. So that calms down. I feel like that calms down your Gemini energy too, to where it's not so all over the place, because Aquarius and the 11th house like to like remove themselves from humanity and just observe like scientists and pick things apart, you know, and not just mindlessly engage, you know. They're like, what are these humans doing? Do I really want to participate in that?
Yeah. That's a really good analysis, April, because that's exactly how I think. That was brilliant, because, you know, before I got into astrology, I was heavily interested in psychology, and I'm extremely observant of other people, you know, people around me, different races, different cultures. And it is like having like a scientific mind. And Moon is your emotions. So I get emotional when I see somebody who is being abused, or somebody who's hurt, or if there is, like poor people or people who are at a disadvantage. So, and it's emotional for me. But then Mercury makes my mind think intellectually as well, you know. Like, I'm always thinking, you know, how can we, you know, better society? You know, those are the kind of thoughts that I have. You know, what could benefit large groups of people? You know, so it makes the mind not only emotional, but also I call it emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
You know, so in Moon represents the home life. So when people come into my house, my thought process is, I wonder what kind of food they like. You know, I wonder what kind of drinks they like. And I will go out of my way to think of ways to make people feel comfortable in the privacy of my house. You know, so it's emotional, it's intellectual with the emotions come together.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. That's the your Moon's in the humanitarian house, you know. So I could totally see how you would be like super concerned about people's welfare, their well-being and everything. So so that just goes to show, you know, we're mainly going to be focusing on Gemini, but that's just another form of proof to everybody that just because you were born under a certain sign, it doesn't mean that that's all there is. There's many layers to you. There's like a lot of elements that come in to your personality, not just the one, you know what I'm saying? So like, he's got a Gemini moon, and I know a lot of Gemini moons. I have 2 of them in my house that drive me nuts every day. But you guys all have your moon in different houses. There's different aspects that make you behave a little bit differently. So another Gemini moon probably would be like all over the place, you know, but it's the house that it's in, the aspects like mean so much, you know, to tell so much more of the story.
And I have trine aspects too. So I think that's why I bring out the better side of Gemini, because I've met other moon Geminis and we're alike, but then their aspects are different. So there is a, you know, Gemini likes to make jokes, and some moon Gemini people, they can make jokes to purposely hurt people.
Be petty.
Be petty. Gemini is super petty. It's one of the pettiest signs. It is. Sorry, guys, it is. And I can say that because I'm a moon Gemini. You know, luckily, I have trine aspects, so I don't purposely hurt nobody. But every once in a while, if somebody hurts my feelings, I'm quick to say something back, you know, just to, you know, win out of pettiness, you know. But I don't do that on a regular, you know what I mean? I don't, because the Mercury conjunction is thinking, how can I make you feel good? That's the difference. You know, I think, how can I make this person feel at home, feel good. So it depends on the conjunctions, the aspects, the houses. This is why you can't be so judgmental on one sign.
Right. Yeah, true. And then once again, your Gemini stuff is in the humanitarian house. So, if you get offended for people when they're offended in some kind of way. So your Gemini isn't going to be as cutting like that because of that reason, I would imagine at least.
Yeah, because there are some cutting Moon Gemini people out there. And it's like they're funny, but it's like some of them are nasty, like mean, like, I would never do that,
Yeah, their clapback game is so strong.
On point, isn't it?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And yeah, it can be entertaining though. That's another thing too that we were going to talk about a little bit is that we were discussing off air how a lot of rappers, everybody knows this now. It's like even people who aren't really into astrology, if you're into pop culture, rappers, a lot of them are Mercury dominant. A lot of them are Geminis, or they're Virgos, or they have, like, if we look deeper, they have some third house stuff going on. There's something with their Mercury, Darren was giving like such a dope, accurate, what's it called? Yeah, he did an Ice Cube impression, and I was like, oh my God. And he explained why Ice Cube talks like that. Okay, let me let you do it. What's up with Ice Cube?
Okay. With Ice Cube's chart, I think he's a Libra rising, I think, but don't quote me on it because I forgot. But he has Sun and Mercury in Gemini, and it's making an opposition to Mars. So Mars is in Sagittarius. So imagine Mars throwing its fire on Mercury. Mercury's the way that you talk. So that's why you talk like this. You know what I'm saying? And he has that strong way, that forceful way of talking. Today was a good day, talking like that. So that's what Mars does. So that's what Mars does to Mercury, that opposition. If it brings passion to the way a person speaks, and some of them Mars Mercury oppositions can make you talk really, really fast. They speak with passion and aggression. I think Heather has that. She told me she has that.
She does? Mars and Mercury opposition?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's a little more gentler than average with that aspect. I don't know her chart.
I don't know her chart, but she mentioned something about Neptune softening up. I forget what she said. Oh. Yeah. Because I was surprised. I'm like, you do? And then, and then I sat and thought of it. I'm like, you know what? Now that I listen to her, I hear it now.
Yeah.
Listen to her. She does talk really fast, and she gets to the point, and she's good at delivering her message quickly too. They speak faster.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That it accelerates the speech because Mars just wants to get it in, get it done, so that's added to your speech. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Interesting. Now I'm wondering what other rappers have angry Mars aspecting their Mercury, to make them come out and deliver.
Research on that. But you know what? Tupac, Sun Gemini, and he has a Mars trine. And trine aspects are always good. And Mars and Sun, they do really well together. So I don't know his ascendant because they don't have his time of birth. I would love to know his ascendant.
Okay. Tupac is another one that I have done. So I would dive in and dig and dig and dig and try to figure out their ascendant because it's unavailable. Okay, I feel like there's a few of them that he can have. I'm torn between Aquarius rising, which would put his Mars in the first, his Moon in the third in Aries, and also Cancer because of his eyes, and the Dear Mama, and him being really attached to roots and all that stuff. I think it was Aquarius and Cancer, and I think maybe Leo was another one. I feel like some Leo from him, but I think he has the South Node in Leo, so that could be where that comes from,
Yeah.
But Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about Tupac's rising sign?
Oh man, the Cancer makes sense though with the song "Dear Mama." He's very close to his mom. Uh, man,
Yeah,
that's
Cancer
hard.
would put his son in the 12th house too. And he's been in prison a lot. He was very
True.
poetic. So it's like there's I'm like, okay, so I know what you mean. I mean, you would know what I mean when I explain this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know how you pick up on the energies of the signs from people. But
Yes.
unless you know their chart, you don't know where the puzzle pieces fit. But you know
Exactly.
those pieces exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's just figuring out how are they
How?
arranged. You know what I'm saying?
It has to be something with. You know what I think? He has to have eighth house energy, 12th house energy, because it's
Yeah.
almost like intuition of death. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And he talked about it, wrote about it, and it carries on after he passed away. So not only is there Gemini activity going on, but there's definitely some 12th house, 8th house stuff going on too.
Yeah, word. And you know what? That's why Cancer rising I thought was fitting for him because that would put I think that puts his Mars and Aquarius in the eighth house. Mars in the eighth
Yeah.
makes sense especially makes sense for like some things that women have said about him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and North Node in the eighth too. So I
Where's
don't
the
know.
person?
Be interesting to know that. But yeah, and like I was telling you earlier, like another rapper, Easy E, he always said, I'm not a rapper, I'm not good at rapping, but he has Mercury retrograde though in his chart.
Oh, yeah.
But after watching every freaking interview available known to man on Easy E, with Easy E, reading Jerry Heller's book, I just kept hearing Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. There's Gemini somewhere. This dude had 2 cell phones. He
Uh-huh.
had or multiple phones that he talked to
Yeah.
different women on. Like there's just so many little things that people let in uh, on about his personality, like on a really
Mhm.
personal level, that just scream Gemini. I'm like, yo, man, he has to be Gemini rising. But it's like there's another debate with him too. Is the year of birth that's just
Oh man,
killing me? With
I
like
hate when that happens.
dude, I've been wanting to do a reading of his chart for years, ever since I started YouTube like years ago. That was the first thing I wanted to do, but then there's like the back and forth with his year of birth. Is it 63 or is it 64? And then like it's not just like what's out there to the public. It's like, okay, his death certificate is different from his headstone. Like,
Oh
you know
God,
what I'm
are you
saying?
serious?
There's family members that are like, no, he was born in 64. No, he was born in. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are killing me. But I feel, that I think the 63 birthday, it matches him like perfectly. But anyway, I can get really deep into that because, I'm a really big fan of rap and hip hop, and I'm always analyzing artists' charts. But I like really try to get a feel for their personality. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
feel like I tap into their energy and I get obsessed. So I can talk, okay, about this.
Yeah.
But anyhow, hey, yeah, there's a lot of people in the chat. What's going on, you guys? There's some regulars up in here. So, Appy is here. Apples, what's up, Apples? Thanks for coming through. She says she thinks Pac is a Cancer rising for sure, and she's an
Okay.
astrologer too, an intuitive astrologer.
Okay. Awesome.
So, and my girl Kate is here. What's up, Kate? Arc, I think that's how you say your name, right, girl? Arc.
I've spoken to Ark a couple times on your channel. I don't know if she remembers. Like
Oh,
like months ago. I don't know if she remembers, but yeah. I remember the
maybe.
name.
Oh, and for you guys who don't know, Darren actually has been he's always commented on things and been in the chat on my channel for like I don't know how long, maybe like a year or two, huh? Like
A year.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a
Like
year. Yeah.
around the summertime is when I found you, yeah.
Oh, okay. So some of you guys may have chatted with him before. So oh yeah, Ark says I love both of you. We love you too.
Yeah, we love
Dewan,
you
what's
too,
up,
Ark.
Dewan? Okay. What about BIG? Monique says. What about BIG?
There's no time of birth. I've already searched. I can't figure that one out either.
Dang.
And he's the Sun Gemini, like the early degrees.
Yeah.
21st is his birthday.
Yeah. All I remember is he has a Virgo moon, and I know he has something in Taurus, and I think he has like Venus and I think maybe like Mercury or Mars in Taurus and Venus in Cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, app says Biggie's a Pisces rising. Okay.
What?
She thinks Biggie's a Pisces rising. You know what? That's one of the ascendants that I felt for him too. It could have been between Pisces and I don't remember the other ones. It's been a minute. But that was one that I felt for him too. We may have discussed it too at Biggie's chart. But anyway.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, check it out. See if you pick up on any Pisces from him or anything else.
Yeah.
Martha, let's see. Oh, thank you, Martha. Martha is giving us both of us like mad compliments. Thank you so much. Okay, so Gemini life. What else can we say about it? What do you feel is your biggest strength with having Gemini energy and your biggest challenge? And I know I sound like a damn interviewer at a job. I'm asking that.
Yeah. Well, I think the best thing about my Gemini placement is when I was younger, well, even today, you know, I've always been able to, you know, make people laugh and make people laugh with my mimicking skills. You know, people always laugh at the way I mimic certain people. You know, it's hard for me to do it on the spot all the time, but you know, if I'm around you enough, you know, I can talk like you, I can act like you, and without being offensive. You know, I know when to stop. And I think that's the beauty of having the trine aspects in the moon conjunction. It's knowing when to stop. Because some moon Gemini people will keep poking at you and keep doing it, and they do it a lot to try to prove to you, hey, I'm just joking. And sometimes people don't like jokes like that. You got to just stop. You know, don't keep doing it to prove the next person that you're right, because Gemini is petty. You know, they like to be right. You know, so I think that's my best quality. When I was younger in elementary school, I used to tell people I want to be a voice actor. You know, like those career well, not career classes, but you know, when a teacher asks you, so kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? My thing was I wanted to be a voice actor for cartoons.
Oh, wow.
That's what I wanted to be when I was a kid. You know, of course I grew out of that, but that was a little fantasy of mine when I was a kid.
That's dope. That just made me think of that doggy style skit. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a mother. You better ask somebody.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting to come out of your mouth next, but maybe I listened to too much rap. I don't know. But
that's a good one, though.
The voice actor thing, I think is also because you have Taurus energy. Taurus rules the voice, and then Gemini is like how the voice gets out there.
Yeah.
So maybe you could.
Yeah. I mean, Taurus rules the vocal cords. You know, so yeah, and it's associated with singing. I used to be in a singing class in middle school. So yeah, I was doing all those things. Taurus, Gemini. Those are the strongest placements in my chart.
Dope. What would you say is like the most challenging thing about you having Moon and Mercury in Gemini?
Okay. Well, they do say that Moon starves Mercury. So this is something that I'm aware of, so I don't do this anymore. But Moon is like a sponge that just keeps soaking and soaking, like, you know, soaking the energy of Mercury. So if I'm in a relationship or a friendship, if I'm not getting the kind of communication that I need and want to make me feel good, then I'll slowly distance myself from you. You know, and that's kind of bad. You know, and I read this in my chart, you know, when I first got into it, and it made me aware of myself. Because, you know, me allowing my feelings to be hurt has hurt other people. My reaction, like sometimes if I'm not speaking to you or whatever, and someone will say, "Hey, where's Darren? I haven't heard from him in a while," and then they get their feelings hurt, because my feelings are hurt because I'm not getting the kind of communication that I need from a friend. Because the 11th house is friendship, so it's mostly friendship. So I'll just not speak to you if I'm not getting what I need. The moon is all about it's kind of a selfish planet, it's kind of like what I need, my emotional needs are, so it stars Mercury.
Yeah, and then plus, since the moon rules Cancer, it has similar qualities to Cancer. What you were describing, to me, it sounds just like Cancer people I know, or those with Mercury and Cancer. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not giving me the feelings or attention I need, well, then I'm gonna turn around and do something to make you feel the way I feel, type of thing. There's a lot of feeling stuff. So it kind of is like Mercury and Cancer in a way.
It is like that. And the only difference with that is that Gemini is going to be smarter about it. They're more petty. With the Gemini energy, though, they can make you feel it. Like, oh, you're not communicating with me. Well, I'm not communicating with you. And I'm a Leo rising too, so there's pride involved. Like, the dramatics, like, oh, I'm not speaking to you anymore. It's
you like, gotta do this. Oh, you gotta do it again.
Yeah. So there's drama behind it. It's like, oh, you're not speaking to me? No, I'm not speaking to you. Like, it's this arrogance, like, how dare you not speak to me? Well, I'm not speaking to you. So it's like, the Leo energy, when you ignore a Leo, it's kind of like someone with Mercury in Leo. If they're being ignored, they like to play this silly game of where they try to put it out there in the universe, like, oh, it's me ignoring them, not them ignoring me. They put out that energy, the Leo energy.
Wow. So inside scoop on that hashtag Leo life right now too.
Yes.
Dang. Okay, Moonchild says Mars and Gemini here, and I can totally relate 100%. Wow. Okay. Monique says my ex is a Gemini sun, Pisces rising, very goofy, never stopped joking around, but he was very immature. Ooh. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, people will say Gemini is one of the signs that are immature in nature, but really it's like if you look at the zodiac wheel and the signs as being like when they're in order as being ages, like Aries is like the newborn, Taurus is the baby that's discovering the physical world, Gemini is the curious toddler, and then we go on Cancer, Leo, Virgo, those all the lower half is associated with like signs.
They're the youthful signs.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, Gemini can be kind of immature, but the other signs on the lower hemisphere of the wheel are immature in their own ways too, Yeah. Gemini is the most vocal about
Yeah, and just think about, it's the third sign. So think about when you were 3 years old. That's when you start talking and asking questions, saying, "Mommy, what is this? What is that? What is this? What is that?" And you're asking questions, and even impolite questions. It's the opposite of Sagittarius. Sagittarius will ask one question about a specific thing, whereas Gemini will ask about anything and everything, even if your personal business. How old are you, April? That kind of stuff. Those kind of questions, without thinking about the person's feelings, or the etiquette behind it, or just being inappropriate, it's like a selfish need for knowledge. Whereas Sagittarius, there's wisdom behind it. There's a way to approach, there is a way to get answers, whereas Gemini it's a more of a selfish need. I need to know. I want to know, even if it's going beyond disrespect. Gemini is not an evil sign. It's not. It's just, people, shouldn't take that sign too seriously, too much, They're just curious. about the world around them. And it's not to hurt nobody. They just want to know, even if it's something utterly private. You know, it's like, I'm not telling you that. And they're not trying to hurt you. They just want to know for whatever reasons they want to know, you know?
Well, I feel like, see, I'm not a Gemini, not by birth at least. I have some Gemini that's a little complicated to explain for the newbies. I'm a progressed Gemini for my fellow nerds, okay? But I feel like that sometimes they can't, if they wanted to be evil, that's what they do, is they can ask questions and get it out of you in a smooth way, like the information they want to know, store it back there for the comebacks, you know?
Yeah. Well, I can explain that. What I've noticed is the people who have Mars and Mercury together in any sign, but especially Mercury and Mars in Gemini, those are the ones you got to be like, you know, they won't start anything, but if you start something with them, they will, like you said, bring up something from the past, especially the retrograde ones.
Ooh.
You know, the retrograde ones, you know, they will bring something up from the past. And if it's a bad aspect from Mars, there's something usually dirty or something usually personal, or even something personal with your sexual life. You know, it depends on the house placements too.
Yeah.
You know, they can go there, you know, they can go there.
That's true. Or attack people's their appearance. See, that's why you bald-headed. That's why all your hair falls out. You have no edges.
Right.
But you said that about me. That's how you were cursed. It's by no hair.
Right. Or those women who try to put men on blast, like, oh yeah, that's why your stuff is blah 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 blah, like real personal. Just like utterly personal, you know? Yeah,
that's true, because I feel like, because Gemini is very curious, so curious that they do like to learn about people, and they do that innocently, but like I said, they keep a lot of that stuff, and then they'll bring it out if they have to attack, you know what I'm saying? And you know what's funny, like where you mentioned about how old are you, that question. My youngest son is a Gemini moon, and he always asks me that. Not constantly, but every once in a while, he'll ask me, how old are you, mommy? And I just tell him, I'm mommy years old. I'm mommy years old. That's all you. And now he's getting smarter. No, you're not. That's not a real number. I'm like, that's all you need to know. Okay. Yeah. Gemini moon, nosy.
And you're Scorpio rising, so I know you're like private about, you know, what's going on with the body and the age and your personal life. So yeah.
Yeah, and his moon falls in my 8th house, so he's trying to be all in.
His moon.
Yes, no, let me tell you even more about Gemini's falling in my 8th house and being nosy. Ooh. So, and my son, his moon is in his 8th house. He's an 8th house Gemini moon, so he can figure out passwords like that. He can puzzles. He can solve puzzles. Those find the hidden. Oh, there it is, right there. I'm like, where did you get this from? And stuff.
Yeah, Gemini.
Yeah. So like he figured out the password to my iPad and my phone, and what email address I use, what all my screen names are. And he started trying to use it as like logins for stuff, but then it would send me emails for these little kid apps, you know, it'll send me emails as his parent, like such and such screen name. And he's a Gemini, so he has like 50 of them, right? Mm-hmm. Such and such screen name is trying to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, how does he know my email address? He's a little kid, you know? That's that nosy 8th house Gemini moon, I swear. And you know, the moon, it does rule the mom and the qualities you get from your mom. And the 8th house part, I know he got that from me, because I'm the same way. I can figure out anybody's password, puzzles, all that stuff. So that's why I'm like, is this my karma?
Yeah, it does rule the mother, and you do kind of accidentally pass on something to your kid, you know, like with my mother, she has moon in Aquarius in the 3rd house. So there's like a Gemini Aquarian feel that she passed on to me, and she gets emotional of groups of people or poor people or sick kids in Africa and stuff like that.
Oh.
And it's interesting, she passed that on to me and my sister. My sister's moon is not Gemini, but her fourth house is Gemini. The
Oh.
fourth house represents the mother. So there's like a Gemini thing going on between the three of us.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah. And you know, my oldest son has Gemini in the fourth. So I'm like, hold on, I'm not a Gemini. I'm a progressed Gemini son. Oh, well, I have Sun conjunct Mercury. So
it's probably your career, because sometimes it's what you're doing, you know, like the field that you're in the media world, and you have great mimicking skills, by the way, you know, so so it's it's just sometimes my philosophy is that sometimes it's not directly what you get from your parents, but it's almost like the childlike perception of the mother. Sometimes,
word,
you know,
yeah,
how they see their mom.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody's saying that in the comments too. Richie Mel, it said the child's moon is how they view your mother. She says her son has a Gemini moon, so he sees her as bipolar and hard to track down. Lord have mercy. Is that what you kids think of me? Oh my gosh.
But just think about your kids' moon placement. Moon Gemini in the fourth house. So you're communicating and working in the privacy of your home.
Oh, no. One of my kids has Gemini as his fourth house. The other kid has a actual Gemini moon.
Oh, okay. So it's that way.
Yeah, but it's in the 8th, and I do an 8th house career. So, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, so there's definitely a connection with Gemini and Scorpio, and, you know.
Being hella nosy. Good Lord, that combination.
Yeah, and, you know, Scorpio's kind of nosy, too.
Yes, we are. That's why I'm like, I don't know where you got that from.
But what's interesting about Scorpio is that they are so investigative and nosy, but they get so mad if you know their business. It's like, I don't trust you. And it's like, well, so you want to know my business, but you don't want nobody to know yours.
I don't know. I really don't know what Darren's talking about. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Sorry, April.
Stay out of my business. No, you're right. You know, I'll admit you are right about that. And you know what? And that's why I put these on to joke around, but also to show you. Scorpio, I know this isn't hashtag Scorpio life, that's later this year. But since we were on that topic, Scorpio, they wear these a lot because it's, you can't see me, but I can see you. Yes, like I want to hide my eyes, the windows to my soul, because I'm very sensitive about it, about you knowing my soul. But I want to know everything about yours.
Yeah. But you know, there's a reason for that, though. It's, you know, the thing with Scorpios is it's all about trust. You know, they want to get to know somebody before they allow anybody come in. So it's almost like they want to have the power and control to decide if I can trust that person or not. Yeah. You know, it's almost like the decision is up to them. You know, they want that power and control because, you know, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. It's power and control.
Yeah, that is true. We do want control over what others know about us. And a good example of that is, you know, here on my channel, I did a reading of Kylie Jenner and her baby's birth charts. And Kylie has a Scorpio moon. It's in the 10th house. So, of course, everybody sees her family and what they do. You know, their family is very public. Yeah. But she even said she wanted to be in control of who was able to see and know things about her pregnancy, which is also the moon, and you know, the birth of her kid and all that. She wanted that to be private until she was able to release it herself out into the public. So I'm like, yeah, that does go along with that whole Scorpio thing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I like your description of that, explanation of that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so what are some, hold on, what did I write down? I can't even read my own handwriting under all this Gemini. It's all chicken scratch. Oh, I was going to ask you, you know, Gemini, everybody has like every sign has like their own like little powers, you know, magical powers that they have. Gemini, I always find they can listen to like 2, 3, 4 different things or people at a time.
Yeah.
And like they actually, okay, now here I want to ask you firsthand.
Okay.
Do you guys actually absorb every single thing that's being said from those different sources, or do you pick up on like little bits and pieces and then you're able to like regurgitate like a little bit and add on to it to make it seem like you really did hear when you didn't?
I get what you're saying. I think it depends on what the mind can handle, because sometimes, like, let's say I'm cooking or whatever, doing whatever, and I hear a conversation. I'm listening to that conversation, and I can repeat everything that those two people were talking about. But then there's other times where I'm on the phone, I'm watching TV, and I'm listening to someone else talking at the same time. And, you know, this is why Geminis will say, what, huh, all the time, because we're trying to listen. It's not that we're ignoring somebody. It's just that we're trying to do too many things at once. And so when we miss what you said, it's like, oh, what did you say? Huh? Like, you know, and then it's like, I just told you, you know, and it's frustrating for the other person, you know. And sometimes, you know, an earth sign like Capricorn or Taurus or something would be like, Gemini, put the phone down, turn the TV off and listen, you know. And, you know, and Gemini will get bored, like they have to do something else. You know, they're kind of fidgety. So they're like I'm looking at you, and then I'll hear a noise and I get distracted easy, you know? So even when I do a live video, I tell everybody to be quiet. Don't knock on my door. Don't call me, because my eyes and my focus does change. You know, like if there was a noise, I would be like this, you know, and still try to hear what you're saying at the same time. You know, so it's not like we're ignoring on purpose. We're just trying to grab everything that's around us.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to hear it, you know, straight from the source, because you know, that's something that myself, as a very grounded Taurus stellium, I'm like, and also a Scorpio energy too, we really focus in on one person, one thing at a time. And when I'm conversing with somebody and like I get really into the conversation, I get really passionate about what I'm expressing. And then I tend to, well, I still do, because I'm still me, even though I'm an astrologer. But now I have an understanding of, you know, it's just people's nature, you know, that they were born under, why they do that. But it still will get to me, like when they're, you know, looking around and the phone and start talking to somebody else. I'm like, dude, that's kind of rude. Like, I'm giving you all of my energy, all of it right now, and you're dispersing it everywhere. Like, that's how you show your appreciation to me. What?
Yeah, and I get that feeling because, you know, I'm a Taurus, you know, so when there's too much Gemini energy, I get frustrated the same way. You know, and my mom is a moon third house person, so she does that a lot. And, you know, and she has the north node there. So her mind is busy, you know? Yeah. So her mind is busy. So when I'm talking to her, you know, most likely I'm talking to her about astrology or something. And I get frustrated because she's watching the TV and, you know, she gets distracted easy. I'm like, Mom, stop, you know, because I have this Taurus energy too. And then when I do it, I get frustrated with myself, like, oh, I can't focus, you know, because I don't like the fact that I have that, you know, because like if I'm watching TV and I get distracted, you know, so I'm one of those people that, you know, if we're watching a movie, you got to be quiet, you know, because I get distracted so easy, you know, because I really had to force myself to pay attention to what I'm looking at. That's why I don't like noises. I don't like phones. I'm really picky and anal about stuff like that because I know I'm a moon Gemini. I get distracted. I look at stuff. Or if I'm in the movie theater, somebody has their phone and the light is on and they're doing all of this in front of me. And I'm just like, I get irritated, like, because I'm looking at the phone. I'm trying to look at the TV because I'm distracted, you know?
Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know what? Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I told you, like, my son has progressed into Gemini, and now I'm a progressed Gemini Mars as of like this year. So
Okay.
I get everything you describe. I'm like, wow, I get like that too, because my Taurus natal nature is like wanting to be focused, and then my progressed Gemini is like, who, what, where, the phone's going off, doorbell ringing, baby crying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating
I'm like, I just
position.
want to focus.
Yeah, and and I do that to people a lot, and I know I'm bothering them, so I try not to, when somebody's saying something to you and you don't want to keep saying what after they said it like two times. So I just kind of let them talk, But that's kind of, those are the situations that I come across, with these positions in my chart. Like if I get distracted by something and then I'll look back at the person and say, what did you say? And then they'll repeat it and I still miss it. I'm like, what did you say? I don't want to make it seem like I'm not listening. So I just let them talk. And I'm like, and Moon Gemini people are really intelligent. So I'm thinking I'll figure it out as the person that keeps talking,
Ah, so
Yeah.
that's what happens behind the scenes. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So when they're talking, I try to figure out what they're talking about, and then I'll pick it up and like, oh, they're talking about that. And I'm like, okay, keep talking. I got my focus together now.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. My husband's a Gemini moon, and a lot of times when I talk, he misses the first like third of what the hell I was talking about. But then
Hmm.
he's able to like pick up on it like a
Yeah.
little bit. Like it takes
That's
him
so true.
a little bit of time to like focus in on what I'm really saying, and then he'll start picking it up and be like, oh, okay, that's what you were talking about. Okay. But still, a lot of times I get irritated. I'm like, you weren't even listening. You were Gemini listening, huh?
Gemini
Weren't you?
listening.
He's
Exactly.
like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's all flustered, and I'm like, you're mad because I'm telling the truth. You guys don't really listen. I'm like, listening to me is you look me in the eyes, okay? You look at me when we talk.
Scorpios love to be looked in the eye.
I'm telling you, that lets me know you're really grasping everything that I'm saying. It's crazy, like because I'm surrounded by so much Mercury in my house. I've got two Gemini moons and I have a Virgo moon. So when I had like sometime last year, I ran into one of my astro homegirls. I ran into her at an astrology store, and she actually does YouTube too. She changed it to One Love Astrology, but her name's Diana.
Okay.
But I ran into her and we were talking, and she's a Scorpio, and she looked me in the eyes when we were talking, and I was like, this is so weird. I'm not used to people engaging with me like that. It's so refreshing. And I was like, man, this sucks. We were only able to talk for like a few minutes because I wanted more of that. Like, usually people are like, their eyes are googling and shifting like all over the damn house, or they're like, at a screen. Yeah. Yeah. So I wasn't used to that. And I'm like, oh my God, one of my people. So
Honestly,
yeah.
that kind of creeps me out. Like, because I know a lot of Scorpio people. They do stare. Like, I know somebody who's a Scorpio moon, and when they're talking to me, they stare like this as I'm talking, and I'm talking to them. I'm like, it's kind of creepy. I feel
Wait,
like
are they
you're in
like
my.
all in your grill? Like they lean in like to your eyeball? Like
You like they just kind of like this, It's like their eyes are penetrating into my head, like they're trying to get inside my head. I'm like, get out of my head, like you're creeping me out. Scorpio energy, I love Scorpio energy, but it's creepy sometimes. It's like I feel like you're in my soul right now. Can you get out?
Okay, well, let me ask you, Mr. Gemini, as a Scorpio, what are you trying to hide? What do you not want me to get in there and find out? My eyes.
I don't know what it is. It's just the feeling, I don't mind it sometimes because I have Rahu in the 8th house, so I get that Scorpio thing, that obsession. You just want to know the deep psychological factors of a person. So part of me doesn't mind the Scorpio energy. I actually love it, but every once in a while, it's like, why are you staring so hard? You know, why is it so deep? Like, you know, we're only talking about, you know, shopping or whatever, you know, or whatever. It could be a lightweight conversation. Even in small talk conversation, the Scorpio will stare and really think deeply about what you're saying, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I'm thinking, what are they trying to figure out? I'm talking about what we're gonna eat tonight. You know, they're so deep. And Gemini
We're
is,
trying to figure out your motive. What are we going
yeah.
to eat tonight? I don't know. Are you cooking? And if so, what are you going to be putting in the food? Do I have something to worry about you and your shifty eyes?
It's so funny. You know, the funniest combination is Scorpio and Gemini. You know, they're not necessarily enemies, but it's eighth from Scorpio. So they have something in common, like the nosiness of the psychological stuff. Because Gemini is actually good in psychology too. They can figure out a little bit of this and a little bit of that about you. And Scorpio's the same way on a deep, heavier emotional level. But so they kind of are alike. The only difference is Scorpio is deep, you know, and Gemini is lighthearted, you know. So that's the difference that I see with them. You know, they're both intelligent though, both intelligent signs.
Yeah, I agree. They're just different ways of expressing that intelligence, and yeah, there's different levels to it too. Gemini, yeah, is a little bit more surface level. It's just kind of like stating things and then moving on. You know, where
Yeah,
Scorpio wants to like keep going like deeper down the rabbit hole. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And you know what? I like that though. You know, because sometimes I can be real deep too, despite my eye going this way and my eye coming back towards me. Because, you know, when I talk about astrology, I get real into it. But then as you're like, let's say you give me some incredible information on, you know, how you interpret a chart. And me and you, we're talking, April. If you say something that just really, you know, something I never heard before and that was interesting, I might have a tendency to snatch my phone and Google what you just said. You know, like, whoa, that was crazy. Keep talking. I'm gonna Google this and I'll read about it and listen to you at the same time. You know, but you know, only that's usually the style of Gemini if they're into astrology. You know, because I
Yeah.
like to learn different pieces of astrology. You know, I use Vedic and Western and Babylonian, and you know, I look at
Yeah.
everything. I look at
That's
everything.
interesting too, because you have that Gemini energy in the 11th house. And
Hmm.
Astrolata, she's an Aquarius rising with a third house stellium. Well, it's
Yeah,
third house in the whole sign chart system. And so there's that Gemini Aquarius combo right there too, that she also uses different styles. You know, like on her website, she has the circular Western chart, and then she has the square
the Eastern.
rectangular Vedic one too, like both,
Yeah,
you know.
that's.
And I
I
know a
think.
lot of people got confused as hell about that, but I'm like, but she still does it. She like, that's just her style, you know. That's just
Yeah,
what she does.
and that's why me and Lotta we clicked though. That's why I gravitated towards her channel because she was the only astrologer that wasn't so fixated on one style, on one system. You got to explore different ones, you know, and figure out which one works for you. And I was telling Philip in our video, you know, I'm gonna use what works. I'm not gonna get fixated on one system. And you know, I was explaining to him, you know, how people always forget that astrology is ruled by the planet Uranus. There's no boundaries in the planet Uranus. There's no limitations. It's a planet of revolution and freedom and anything that's new. So whatever is new, you know, if there's a new discovery in astrology and if it works, I'm going to use it. Whether it's
Right.
Babylonian, Vedic, Western. So when people ask me what kind of astrologer are you, I'm not in a category. I'm just an astrologer.
Yeah. No labels, right? 11th
No
house, no
labels.
labels.
Exactly.
Heck yeah. Um, okay, let me see if I had any other chicken scratched questions that I
Okay.
can read. Um, I don't know. I don't understand what I wrote. You know, we are under a new moon in Gemini. There's a lot of Gemini in the air, so even I'm affected. And I'm like, what the hell did I write? Common things said. Oh, I think I just scribbled down some. Okay, I noticed that Gemini, that every sign has their little sayings that, like, the majority of people that have that energy of the sign, they tend to all like say similar things.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
I think
and
all signs do that. They'll say
they all
certain things.
every sign has their thing that is like, and that's one indicator of when I meet people and I don't know anything about them and I hear a certain phrase or a certain like word that they say a certain way. I'm like, you're a blah 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 sign somewhere.
Yeah.
You know how I can tell Geminis? I attract them like bees to honey, right? They say I can tell a Gemini if I'm conversing, saying something while I'm talking, they'll either do this, they'll go, and I'm like, I pause and I'm like, did you want to say something? Oh, no, keep going. And I'm like,
yeah, that's true.
Or they'll say, right, like while you're talking, right. I'm like,
I can explain that too.
Please explain.
They're trying so hard to focus and they just can't, you know, and Gemini is so nosy, you know, they want to grasp every piece of information, you know, and catch every word. So it's almost like they're trying to, you know, it's not that they're bored or they're not listening. It's just that they're just making sure that they're hearing what you're saying, like, okay, I got you. You know, they're not rushing you. You know, they want you to keep talking, you know. It's just that, you know, there'll be something else distracting them. They're always distracted, always.
I know, so I figured that.
That's just their way of trying to, I guess that's just their way of trying to listen. You know, it's like they're making themselves sure that they heard what you said. It's for themselves.
Oh, it's for them. Okay, yeah, because I was thinking that they do that as a validation to the person speaking. Like, yeah, I hear you. That's what I was thinking and I'm like, I know you should be hearing me. I mean, like, I'm talking to you. I would hope so. But that's what I was thinking. It's like a validation. Like, I hear it. Okay, I heard you. Yeah.
So I mean, part of it is that it's like, yeah, it's what it is showing that I understand you. It's more than just hearing it. It's understanding what you're saying.
Okay.
Because sometimes, you know, people can say something and then people will just listen and then they may walk away from it and be like, I don't know what she was talking about. But but the Gemini, at least you know that your feelings are validated because I understand what you're talking about. You know, I understand what that feels like. So that thing is like an agreement. It's an agreement thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. Thanks for explaining that. Because every sign is different with the way that they communicate, and Gemini is the sign of communication. So I just want a little clarity on that because, you know, personally, I have a different communication style. So and that always like irked me, but I'm an astrologer and I want to understand like firsthand, like why, like from a real person, like why do you guys do that?
Yeah. And certain combinations and certain signs can irritate you sometimes, you know, depending on how it's being placed in their chart, you know?
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. Woo.
Yeah, we won't discuss that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have Gemini in the 8th. I always find that whatever sign is in your 6th house and your 8th house are the ones that can like really grind your gears the most, so to speak.
Yeah, they can. Because with Scorpios, I think, well, I don't want to put Scorpio's business out there. They like to keep their secrets. But well, with Scorpio energy, it's like, you know, the typical one. So, you know, don't get offended, you know, if your sun sign is Scorpio. But like earlier I mentioned, you know, Scorpio likes to know all about you, but they, you know, like to keep themselves secretive. That power and control is like, they want the power and control to know everything about you, but they don't want nobody to know about themselves. I think what ticks Scorpio is that Gemini is probably the only sign that could figure out a Scorpio. I think that's why Scorpios get irritated and even distrustful, because Gemini also blabs at the mouth. So
Yeah.
not only can Gemini can figure out a Scorpio, but it's that fear of, are they going to open their mouths and tell my business? Because Gemini will do that if you piss a Gemini off. They don't, it's not a Gemini's intention to do that. But if you offend them in some kind of way, that's their gift and that's their weapon. It's their words. Like if you offend them, then it's like, oh, is that how you feel about me? Well, blah, 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 blah. And I'm telling your business, da, 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 da. And they may even go as far as putting it on the internet.
Oh, we have seen that in action. Woo!
Yeah, so those are the bad qualities of a Gemini. If you have bad aspects of Gemini, but if it's a good Gemini, they won't necessarily do that. They may a good Gemini will be like, well, let's sit down and have a conversation about it. Especially if you have a Mercury and Saturn thing going on, with the maturity thing, then they'll sit down and talk to a Scorpio like, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation, and let's talk it out. So it really depends on what planet it is and what aspects are hindering that planet in the sign of Gemini.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. There's light and dark to every sign, every energy, everything in astrology. It's not just like one-sided with anything, You got to be open-minded enough to look at both sides. I was also going to ask you, because I was going to ask you if you are a coffee drinker.
I'm not. No.
You're not. Are you sure you're a Gemini moon?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask because I've observed that people that have a really heavy dose of Mercury in their charts, they're Geminis or Virgos, or they have like Mercury in the first, or like a really strong mercurial placement, are the ones that are the main ones that I see that love coffee. Like they love to drink coffee, they love caffeine, to keep their body as stimulated as their mind is,
Yeah.
And they always ask, like I have a friend who's she's got her moon in the 3rd house and she's got a Gemini rising. And anytime it's like, hey, let's meet up to catch up, it's always like, let's go to Starbucks, let's meet and go get some coffee and let's have a little gossip and a little talk, So how do you not like coffee?
I think it's because with the Taurus energy, I try to use things that are more natural, like natural foods that give me where I'm naturally caffeinated, without drinking coffee, or I might go to GNC and take vitamins. That's what I do. Because my mind, one interesting thing about being a Sun Taurus and a Moon Gemini, my mind is faster than my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mind is quicker than my body. So a lot of people don't pick up on my Gemini ways, because my first house is Leo, which is the body, and Leo's ruled by the Sun in Taurus. So people always perceive me as someone who's calm and slow, that stereotype of a Taurus.
Yeah.
Not realizing that I'm constantly thinking, because Mercury is the mind and so is the moon. So, and they're together. So my mind is just like, on the inside, but it's just not external.
Okay. That makes sense. With the Taurus is an earth sign. It loves things that are more of the earth. Not saying that coffee isn't of the earth. It is, but just like but now with it being so commercialized with places like Starbucks and everything, there's lots of bull crap added into the mix.
Yeah.
So it's not just the natural coffee bean anymore. So I totally get you on that. And but yeah, like I first of all, I don't really like caffeine, but just the way my life is now, I've kind of had to depend on it sometimes. But I too will find a more natural way to get caffeine at lower levels than the average like coffee or Starbucks drink. You know what I'm saying? So I can still be myself and not just be a complete Tasmanian devil, just like scattered, because Taurus wants to be in control.
They do.
Control, slow and steady, not like, so yeah, I get it. So that's probably why you're not like the average mercurial person to want to drink all this coffee all day, but you still do like to be caffeinated, energized, right? Like
I do, yeah, because my body is slower than my mind, and I there is a desire to be caffeinated, where sometimes I need energy, like I crave that energy, because I have so many ideas, and it's hard for me to, to put it into action or make it organized,
Yeah.
But the Capricorn in me and the Taurus in me, it does help me a lot. It slows me down a lot, and it makes me cautious and careful, because every once in a while I will go super fast with the way that I speak and talk. Like earlier we mentioned when we were off camera, how I can do my readings fast, because I talk fast, like, and I get carried away with the big lingos and the words, and like blah 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 blah. Next thing you know, my readings are 10 minutes, and I'm like, oh, they paid for a 30-minute reading. Let me slow down, start over, and explain what I'm talking about. Because I also have a Mars trining Mercury. So every once in a while, I'll get really passionate and I speak really, really fast, and I get
You become Ice Cube in your reading?
Huh?
I said you become Ice Cube in your reading?
Yeah. Yeah, see, sun in the 10th house, know what I'm saying? No.
What'd he say? Oh man. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, yeah, that's I appreciate your explanations of getting into the mind and the behind the scenes of the Gemini energy, how it operates, why it operates. And I think it's really dope that, because you understand things astrologically and from a regular person standpoint, you can explain them clearly, because a lot of Gemini is one of the signs gets the most hate.
They do, yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah,
right.
It's the most it's one of the most misunderstood signs too. They get a lot of flack because regular people, all they do is pick up a book and see two people, oh, they're two-faced. It's way more to it than they're not two-faced. It's all about communicating from one person to another. I mean, they can be flighty and all over the place, but I wouldn't necessarily call them two-faced. They might flip on you if you piss them off. I see it more that way. Like with the whole Scorpio thing where Gemini is eighth from them. They want to know your business. And, it's almost like you got to ask them, don't tell anybody that I told you that. It's like you got to remind that sign, and they'll be like, and if they like you, oh, okay, yeah, I wouldn't do that to you. But if you piss them off, then it's on and cracking. All your dirty business is out there.
Yeah.
With the bad aspects to Gemini.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the flipping on people, I think that's where people get the two-faced thing from, and then also because Gemini is a very adaptable sign. They can adapt to talking to different people, like in different ways. Like for one person, they can talk, oh, so nice and anything, and then to another person who talks in a way that's a little bit more passionate and maybe angry, then they become Ice Cube, like they start rapping and everything, and it's like, well, but with me, you're not like that. You talk like a very nice young man. So they adapt to other people.
Yeah, they are adaptable to other people, because it's almost like, I don't know how to explain it. Well, here's the thing. If you know the ascendants, that's how I interpret the signs now. I go by the ascendant in the order of the wheel. So Leo is third from Gemini. So when Gemini communicates with people, it's like, I'm speaking to you to feed your ego, because Leo it's not just a selfish, confident sign. Leo likes to make other people confident as too,
Right.
So even though they can be they can come off self-centered and all that, and it's all about me. But if Leo likes somebody, a Leo will try to make you feel good too. They'll boost your ego, boost your confidence, even if it's something wrong. Like, a person will come to Leo like, I don't feel like I should do that. That's cheating. That's wrong. I shouldn't do that. A Leo will be like, if it's going to benefit you, then do it. Go do it. I'll have your back. Leo is loyal like that. They're loyal to a fault. So Leo is third from Gemini, and third house is, communicating, speaking, writing. So when Gemini is talking to another person, they're talking like them to make that person feel good and feel confident. Like, hey, I like the way that you speak. That's just a Gemini way of saying, I like the way that you talk. Like, some people may get offended by me if I'm mimicking you. Like, if I'm mimicking somebody, it's because I like the way that you talk. I'm not trying to put you down.
Right.
So me being a moon Gemini, with the sensitivity, I always reassure the person that I'm not mimicking you to make fun of you, to make you feel bad. I'm doing it because I like the way that you talk.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that's why Gemini does that. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
they enjoy that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know that I do that a lot too, but I have Sun conjunct Mercury. I wonder if that's where it comes from, or progressed Gemini. I've been a progressed Gemini for, I don't know, maybe like 17 years or something. But
okay.
But I've always done like accents, and
yeah, you do.
When somebody has a little like dialect from somewhere, or I don't know, I always mimic that. And I'll do that sometimes to them, but it like you said, it's not to make fun of them, like to be evil or saying I don't like. No, it's like, I like you. I love accents. I love different ways that people talk. And so if I do that, it's because I like how it sounds.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun, like to experience speech through other people in different ways,
Yeah.
So okay, that's cool.
That's where the misconception of Gemini comes from with the two-facedness. It's just that they adapt to the other person, trying to make that person feel good, make this person feel good. And, Libra kind of gets that bad rap too of like, you're playing both sides, because if Libra wants to be fair, listen to the next person's point of view,
Yep.
And that can be kind of confusing for a sign like Scorpio, because Libra's 12 from them. It's behind them. It's kind of like, I don't trust you. Like, you're talking to this person, you're my friend, because Scorpio is more black and white. It's more like, you're either mine or you're not. Which one is it? And Libra will be like, well, that person does have a point of view. And the Scorpio will be like, yeah, but you're my family. You're my friend. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So those are the dynamics, with the wheels, the ascendants.
Yeah.
So when you know the ascendants, you'll know the signs.
Yep. Yeah. And even there's different methods of just looking at the signs in general from that point of view of like, you have to look at it like, even just if you don't know someone's ascendant, but like their sun sign, even looking at that from that perspective of like, okay, well,
like a solar chart.
Yeah, like a solar chart. Yeah, looking at it like that, it helps to make a lot of sense about certain areas of life and why they do what they do and how, So yeah, that's pretty dope. That explanation of Gemini's having Leo third from them, which is why they can be very animated too, and how
animated, right?
I love it.
Entertaining, because Leo's entertaining.
Yes, man. That's what I love. I love so much about Gemini, like the entertaining factor, of being a little court jester and everything. I love that. And even though I personally don't really care for drama and being petty and stuff like that, and especially when it's evil and mean, it's meant to be. But if it's just a little bit of back and forth bickering, like cracking jokes on each other, man, I love to see Geminis do that. Like, it just touches me right here for some reason.
Yeah, it touches me here because I'm the
I didn't see see where you pointed, and I don't know if I want to, but
it was my
okay.
head. My head.
You like it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what else? You know what? We're going on like a little over an hour. I don't want, and Gemini has a very short attention span, so I don't want Geminis to be like an hour and 30 minutes. Hell no, I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll cut off this chat right here. But before we go, I want to see if anybody had any other questions or comments about that Gemini life. If you are a Gemini, and what is it like to be you guys? Like, why do you guys do what you do? If you want to explain yourselves, let us know. Let me see what else comments are here. If people understood astrology better, we could work it, the bad aspects. Okay. Helps. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. People do. I agree. Let's see. Let me see what else. You got about 3.5 seconds before squirrel. Squirrel. Oh yeah. Ark says talking to a Gemini is like being on a game show being timed. Girl.
Yeah. That's a good analysis.
Oh my gosh. That's such a great you know what? I do notice that when I talk to my Gemini friends, because I have my Mercury's in the 7th house. So that's where I try to be adaptable when I talk to people too. And if they talk at a certain speed, sometimes I'll catch myself talking at that speed too, so that we could be on the same level of communication,
Yeah.
Because I feel like the 7th house doesn't want to offend people. So if they're just like, blah, 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 I don't want to talk slow. And then they're like, oh my God, like, so I try to keep up. So I lose my breath talking to my Gemini friends. And I know that I have to just keep the little short, quick little statements and say, right.
Yeah. And you know what? I do say right a lot too. I do. Yeah.
I bet you do. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good analogy, Ark. It's like being on a game show being timed. Yeah, because also when I talk to Geminis, I notice that I do have to shorten things, shorter than I usually would, because then they'll start looking around. Like I noticed my husband does that. My bad. My husband does that. I'll start talking to him about something and I'll get really into it. And as soon as I start diving really deep into it, speaking with passion, that's when he starts walking around and doing stuff and saying, and looking at his phone, and I'm just like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong here? Because you got to like keep it short and sweet,
Yeah.
With Gemini people a lot of times.
Yeah, it's difficult.
All right. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Interesting conversation about astrology in general in the chat, which is dope. Richie Mel says, I had to stop drinking coffee. The paranoia and anxiety with my Virgo stellium.
Ooh.
Hashtag Virgo life is,
yeah.
Woo, I feel for you guys.
That's a mutable sign too. Their mind is busy too.
Yes.
Isn't
always.
it?
Okay, Malcolm says, I have Mercury and Gemini in the 1st house. Everybody knows not to talk to me until I've had my morning cup. Oh my God. I know so many more people like you, Malcolm. That's so true. One of my best friends is like that. She's a Gemini rising. She always posts little memes about that. Like, don't talk to me until I have my coffee, okay?
Yeah. That's funny. I knew a girl who had Mars and Gemini in the 1st house. She was the exact same way.
Yeah, definitely a Gemini thing. That's that Gemini life. Okay. Let me see anything else that you guys have to say. Ark says it's called being mutable, not fake. Okay, word. Okay, we know that as people who study astrology, but like in the regular real world when we're dealing with people, then we let our emotions take over.
Yeah, they perceive Gemini as being fake or two-faced, and that's just not the case.
Yeah, it's not intended to be like that. But like I said, when we're thinking with emotions and not logic, that's when we can use terms like that to describe the signs,
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. Da, 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 da. You lose them when you talk deep. Girl, that is so true. It's so true. I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but that is absolutely true. I think I explained this on a video on Astrological, but I have two best friends. One is a Gemini rising, Moon in the third, like I mentioned, and then the other one has Venus in Gemini. And when we all three get together, their Gemini just comes super to life, you know. And then I will come in, we're all catching up, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, ladies, guess what happened? Let me tell you about this incident, right? And I'll just be all Scorpio deep into it and looking at them, you know, and everything. Then they start looking at each other and talking, you know, oh yeah, this wine is good. Yeah, where'd you get it? Oh my God, yeah, you know what? And I just stop and I'm like, you guys done yet? Huh? What? We're listening. And I'm like, you know what? Never mind. I can't talk. I can't. I'll just let you guys talk, okay? No, I'm like,
right. I understand, yeah.
I can't. So I've learned to adapt though, to when hanging out with them, to keep it like this, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, even though it's outside of my nature, I try to be considerate of their nature and try to vibe with the whole Gemini thing.
Yeah. And I think that's why we get along too, because, you know, I'm aware of my Gemini ways. So I take in consideration the other way, you know, where I try to keep it under control and stay focused. And I have a lot of planets in Earth signs, Capricorn and Taurus, you know, so it helps me, you know, so it's not like I'm completely helpless. You know, most of my planets are in Earth signs.
Yeah. So that's why it is important to look at a whole chart, you guys. I know I sound like a broken record with saying that all the time, but it is because, you know, like we're focusing on the energy of Gemini like heavily right now. But as you've seen, you know, somebody that has Gemini planets, they can have planets in other signs that make them not like like another Gemini person that you know. It's like Geminis will have things in common with one another, but the rest of their chart will determine how else their personality plays out that could be different from the next one, you know?
Yeah, and that's why it's so important for people to stop judging people by their sun sign too.
You know, if I had a tambourine right now, I think there is one in this room somewhere. I can't find it. I would be, woo, you know, to that point right there. It's so like that's our mission. That's why we're here, right?
Yeah. When I start making videos, I'm going to say that in every video, because people love to leave comments like, oh, well, I have this planet in this house and that didn't happen to me. Well, that may not have happened for you, but it could be so on point for somebody else, because people forget about aspects and degrees and conjunctions and houses. And you got to take all of that into consideration. If you really want to go deep, well, I don't want to say a bunch of words that people don't know, but you know, but there's other stuff out there like fixed stars and nakshatras and padas and all these abstract terminologies, you know, but I want to make it simple. I want to start off making it ABC 1, 2, 3 without jumping into the advanced stuff.
Yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. So can you, do you have like, I know you're on Astrological as a reader.
Yeah.
And so I will make sure to drop your info in the info box to where people can reach you, because there was somebody in the comments that did say that they would like a reading by you. So I'll drop your info for them. And also, do you plan on having like making your own videos on YouTube or having your own content anytime soon?
I do plan to make on videos, but I'm kind of swamped with clients right now, so I really want to make that my priority for now. So I'm going to be really busy this summer. You know,
he's too booked to be bothered. That Leo is booked to be bothered.
Life of a Leo rising. I'm too booked.
He's so busy. I noticed Leos will say that a lot. I'm just so busy. No, I'm not clowning. I'm not clowning though. I know your line of work. I mean, hello. So I know that you are incredibly busy. You mean it when you say it. It's not in that like superficial way, like, ugh, too busy. But whenever you do have your queue cleared, of course, we would love to see more from you, like on your own platform. So we look forward to that. But until then, yeah, everybody, you guys can find Darren on astrological.com as a reader if you'd like to reach him. I'll also drop his Instagram in the info box too, so you guys can reach out to him personally there and everything. So yeah, I guess we'll just wrap things up. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I was glancing over and seeing some of your signs, all Gemini, your stuff, like all Gemini style, while we're talking. But yeah, if anybody has any comments under the published video to add to what it's like to be a Gemini, like explain your behavior to everybody so we all understand it, then please do. I also did a chat on #TaurusLife too last month with Astro D. So go check that out, you guys. Oh, and also speaking of Astro D, everybody, if you know who Astro D is, go send her some love because she actually just lost her mom. Like I think barely a week ago or something, a week or two ago. So all her info is under my #TaurusLive video. So go find Astro D, send her a little love. So yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, did you have anything to say to wrap up, Darren? Any Gemini stuff?
Not really. I mean, I can't think of anything else to say now.
How can a Gemini have nothing to say?
I know, right?
Right?
Right.
Okay, no, that's cool. We had a good chat. You know, we don't want to keep this too long to bore any Geminis that want to watch. So yeah, Darren, thanks for rolling through and chatting with me. You know, maybe we can chat again in the future. Hopefully on your channel. Hello.
Yeah.
Whenever that happens. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And if you would like to participate in any of my #sign life you know, interviews, then let me know, because I really do love to interview people who are into astrology and astrologers, but also regular schmegular people. You know, if you want to give your perspective on your sign, let me know. Hit me up on the comments, in my email, or whatever. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. So make sure you contact Darren if you would like a reading to be put in queue, because he's, you know, pretty booked right now. But if you would like to contact him, I'll leave that info. So that's it. All right. So peace out, everybody. We'll see you in my next video. Actually, I'm going to do one on the Gemini new moon in a little bit here. So stay tuned for the notification on that. All right. Peace, everybody.